Okay, so last time we were together, do you remember I drew a picture and then you came up with the equation? And we actually came up with two equations. We came up with a sine and a cosine, which is what's going to happen every time you have that shape. That shape is a sine or a cosine. Now, when you look at it at first glance, look at the part that I drew, that looks like a cosine. That looks like a cosine because it starts up here, right? So I'm going to start with my cosine equation. Sum of this equation is so easy to fill in. Notice it goes up to 6 and down to -6. Therefore, I know there has been no vertical shift. The vertical shift would lift it up or down, and I haven't done that. It's balanced across the x-axis. Does that make sense? All right. Another thing to tell right off the bat is I am starting my curve at -pi/9, which means I have shifted pi/9 to the left, and that's what happens here. This is your horizontal shift, right? Also, my hills and valleys are 6 tall, so my amplitude number is 6. That is easy. I can tell all those things just by looking at it.
What if your hill was like higher than your valley?
That means you got a vertical shift.
14.
All right, now I need to find this number right here. For the time being, I'm going to call that number B. Okay? You can call it whatever you want. I wouldn't call it X or something, but make up a letter. I know that my period is 2 pi divided by that number. That's how you find the period. You take 2 pi, always 2 pi, for a sine or cosine, and divide it by that number. Now I also can tell that I'm going from -1/9 all the way to 15/9. That's my period. Well, how far is that? From -1,
16.
so it's 16/9. So 2 pi divided by something is my period, 16 pi/9. So I'll cross multiply, 18 pi equals 16 pi b. Now this gave us trouble yesterday. Guys, we're solving for b. So we're going to divide by 16 pi. And the pi's are going to cancel. And I'm going to reduce 18/16 to get 9/8. And that's the number that goes right here. That's my b.
Where'd you get 18/16?
2 pi times 9.
18 pi
Okay, yeah.
equals 16 pi b. Now, the good news is that number's going to stay the same, that number's going to stay the same, and that number's going to stay the same. When you write your second equation, the only thing that's going to change is where you start looking at the picture. Okay? So, if this is a sine, then I don't start looking at the top. I start looking somewhere like right here. Is this a picture? I have to extend it, but that's okay. Is that a picture of a sine curve? Yes. And where is it starting? Pi/3. So this is going to be x minus pi/3 because I went right. One more little tricky thing though. What about that cosine curve? It's upside down. Remember, a normal sine would have a hill and then a valley. Because I chose to start it here, I had a valley and a hill. Could I have come all the way over here and started it here? And that would have been a positive cosine, or excuse me, a positive sine. But its phase shift would be 11 pi over 9. These problems have infinitely many answers. All of the answers will match here, here, and here. But depending on where you start looking, that's going to be different. If it's a cosine, you start looking up here. If it's a sine, you start looking on the axis. Okay? All right. Now we're back to you're drawing your own picture. So here, I do the picture, you wrote the equation. Now, I've written the equation, and it's a doozy, and you are going to draw the picture. Now, I've given you a little bit of a jump start with this. Because what does that plus 1 on the end of the equation mean? I'm lifted up 1. So now, instead of my curve oscillating across the x-axis, it's going to oscillate across this line. All right? Okay, so tell me what else you know.
It starts right there. It's a valley and a hill.
You know that it's going to have a valley and then a hill because it's a negative sign.
Period is 3.
But be careful, where does it start?
Pi over 6.
It starts at negative pi over 6. So it starts right there. Remember, without the vertical shift, I would put my dot right here, right? But now I have a vertical shift, so now my dot's up there.
Period is
Well, my period's not
6
3.
pi. 6 pi.
My period,
Oh, it's 6 pi.
no, is 2 pi divided by 3.
Oh.
My period is always 2 pi divided by that number. All right? Now, be patient. 2 pi over 3 is the same as 4 pi over 6. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And I did that because, look where I'm going to start.
Over 6.
I'm going to start at pi over 6. And I need to travel 4 pi over 6. So where am I going to stop? 3 pi over 6. Why am I stopping at 3? I know that reduces, but just leave it. Why am I ending up at 3 pi over 6? Because I started at negative 1. And if I start at negative 1 and go 4, don't I end up at 3? Right? So that means I'm going to end there. In between, there's going to be a hill and a valley. What does this tell me?
It starts down. It goes down first.
It goes down first. What else does that tell me? It goes down 2. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go down 2. So remember, won't that put me at negative 1 now? And then I'm going to go up 2, so that's going to put me at 3. So my hill is coming down to here, crossing here, peaking here. So this is what my picture is going to look like. Now I need to find, I'm all done basically, except for these labels. I need to find these labels. So, negative 1 plus 3, I'm looking for my halfway point. Negative 1 plus 3 would be 4, 2, and half of 2 is 1, so isn't this pi over 6? And then halfway between, that's just going to be 0, and halfway between, that's going to be 2, 6. And you can absolutely reduce those if you wish, but you can leave them alone too. So now we're going to fill in all of our information. This is easy points once you've done that. What's your amplitude? How high are your hills?
3.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. How high are your hills? 2. They're too high. Now, boys and girls, I know they go up to 3, but they only go down to -1.
Yep.
Your amplitude's 2,
Combine your highs and lows.
okay? What's our period? We figured that out, 2 pi over 3.
PS.
PS stands for phase shift. And phase shift is the trigonometry word for horizontal shift. Now, horizontal, how far did we shift our picture?
5 or 6.
And make that either right, left pi over 6, or put a negative on there. Because that's different than if you shifted positive, right? So we want to indicate we went left. So you can use the word left, you can also use a negative. VS stands for vertical shift. How far did we shift it
+1.
vertically? +1. Frequency is the reciprocal of the period.
3 over 5.
So our period is 2 pi over 3, so our frequency is 3 over 2 pi. So you get points for all that, but all that's easy once you've done this. This is the hard work. All right, let's do the last one in this part.
VS stand for vertical shift.
Yes, is vertical shift.
I didn't hear.
Good job, Carter.
I think I need another one of those.
We're gonna do another one right now.
Oh, ate it.
What?
Why'd you say that?
Hey, we're gonna do it anyway.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't his idea,
What?
although I appreciate his enthusiasm. Now, new thing in this problem, take a look at what's written on the paper and take a look at what I wrote on the board. What did I do? I took the 3 out. In other words, I factored it out. You must, before you start with that one, you must factor out your number. And both of these, it's a 3, but whatever the number is, it has to come out of the parentheses. The parentheses must be X, whatever. All right? Now, notice the -2. What does that mean?
Minus down to.
That means my new axis of oscillation
Dang.
is down 2.
Where did you start at?
I'm gonna go ahead and put it right down there. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
My amplitude is only a half. So that means I'm gonna go up a half. So that would be 1.5, negative. And down a half, so that would be -2.5. So whatever this picture ends up looking like, it's really smashed in there. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's a cosine, positive cosine. It's gonna start at pi over 3. So that means I'm gonna have a dot right here. So up a half, it starts up. I'm gonna have a dot. And then it's gonna cross somewhere, and it's gonna bottom out, and it's gonna cross, and it's gonna end. So my picture looks like that. That is a positive cosine curve. It only goes up and down a half, and it starts at pi over 3. So I need to label that point, and where I am. Okay, so here we go. What's my period?
2 pi.
2 pi over 3. Now that's good news because that's already a 3. So I'm at 1/3. I have to go 2/3. Where am I going to end up? 3/3, which is 1 if you prefer. I'm going to say 3/3, but you can say 1.
you still put
You start at 1/3. You travel 2/3. 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3. 1. Now what's going to be right here in the middle? The average of 1
2/3.
and 3.
2/3.
2 pi thirds.
2 pi thirds.
2 pi
So
thirds.
1 and 3 is 4, and half of 4 is 2. So this is 2/3.
I don't know if this is a dumb question or not, but would you take off points if we just put 1 instead of
No,
1 pi?
absolutely not. But remember, Joe, I just added these together,
Yeah.
so it helps to
Yeah.
keep the denominator.
Yeah.
But absolutely not. You can simplify it or not, doesn't matter.
Yeah. And we don't have to put the pi.
You do have to put the pi. Yeah, the pi is part of the label. When you do the math, you don't have to include the pi, like when you're adding in your head, but you have to have pi in your answer. All right, here we go. One more. 1/3 and 2/3 makes
2, 3.
3/3,
About
but I
like
have
two.
to divide that by 2. So this is going to be 3/6.
Yeah.
And 2/3 and 3/3 is 5/3, so that one's going to be 5/6. There we go. Last thing, let's fill in the blanks. What's the period? You already figured that out.
It's 2 pi
2
thirds.
pi over 3. What's your amplitude? 1/2. What is your phase shift?
Pi over 3.
Pi
Plus.
over 3. Positive pi over 3. Right. Pi over 3.
Minus 2.
What is your vertical shift?
Minus 2.
-2. And what is your frequency? No.
3 pi.
3
over
over
2 pi.
2 pi. Frequency is reciprocal of period. All right, next time we're together, we'll do that last problem, and that will be the end of 4-4. So, you are welcome to begin working on the 4-4, but I will not assign it until Thursday. So it will be due Monday.